The sunny beaches of Mexico and Big 12 football. That's right. I'm Pete Mundo, Heartland College Sports. It is great to be here with you, diving into another show. So, yes, this report dropped on Monday night that the Big 12 has been actively exploring playing football and basketball games in Mexico starting in 2024. And, you know, I am a big Brett Yormark guy. You listen to me for the last 7, 8 months, you know that, right? Hands down. Totally love, respect what he's doing. This one I have not understood, but I am willing to give and will be giving the benefit of the doubt in this case. And let me explain why. I've always been of the belief that these smaller college towns, Manhattan, Ames, Stillwater, places that are clearly built around their universities, desperately need these 6 home games every fall in football and to a lesser extent basketball for economic purposes, right? I mean, that's what it's really about. That's how I've always felt. I never have liked games moving to neutral sites unless there's some, big advantage payout wise for the schools, which oftentimes there is, but not always the case. So that's always been just my core belief. Keep games on campus. College athletics is best on campus. But I'm willing to at least explore this possibility. And before I get to why, just in case you don't really know what's going on with the story, multiple reports, including Sports Illustrated, reporting on Monday that the Big 12 is set to begin playing basketball games in Mexico during the 2024-2025 season, and then football games in 2025. And down the road, the conference is also looking to add baseball and soccer games in Mexico as well. So they're looking at doing that potentially. The Big 12's preference would be to begin the games south of the border with Kansas and Houston on the hardwood. And Brett Yormark apparently has been meeting with officials. He's toured potential sites down in Mexico, the CDMX Arena in Mexico City, capacity 22,000 for basketball, and football games played in Monterrey at Estadio BBVA, capacity 53,000. So, that's right in line with a lot of Big 12 stadiums, so that would be absolutely fine. So I saw this report, and my gut reaction, just like I saw the headline, and I was like, no, please, no. But then I thought about it a little bit more, and I slept on it. I didn't want to hop on here on Monday night and start, going crazy. Took a step back, and I thought to myself, okay, Brett Yormark, every move he has made has been him playing 3D chess in large part. He has been a step ahead. Whether it was getting the TV deal done early, beating the Pac-12 to that, whether it's the Rucker Park announcement from a few weeks ago, where you're going to have Big 12 men's and women's basketball coaches in New York City, doing summer camps, building the Big 12 brand elsewhere, all of that has made an enormous amount of sense, right? It's been a big win for the Big 12. So he's built up so much cachet with the Big 12 fan that we should all be giving him the benefit of the doubt. And then I look at this and I say, okay, if Kansas and Houston play one basketball game in Mexico City, is that going to change the Big 12 forever? Is that going to be something that is going to destroy business in Lawrence or in Houston? No, it's not. It's not. And if it ends up building the Big 12 brand in a large way, in a bigger way, and helps this conference grow, bring eyeballs, bring attention to the league, that's a huge win because that helps down the road in an even bigger way. If the Big 12 brand grows to the point where, first off, the Big 12 can expand, teams want to be in this conference, TV revenue goes up, which means TV deals get bigger down the road, everybody's winning then. Everybody's winning from the colleges, yes, to the programs, to the mom and pop business in Lawrence, in Houston, in Stillwater, in Ames, in Manhattan, wherever. So it's like any business, right? You can't just look at it through the prism of what impacts me on one college football Saturday in Manhattan in September. It's got to be about more than that. It's got to be about a bigger fish to fry than that. And if I'm sitting here as Brett Yormark, Brett Yormark doesn't want to take business away from bars in Stillwater on a college football Saturday. He doesn't want to do that, right? He doesn't want to take away business from a great restaurant in Manhattan in October. But if you were to play Big 12 football games in Mexico, and you did, let's say, one a year like the NFL, and if you're a Big 12 team, you got 12 teams, you play one every 6 years in Mexico, and you only lose a home game once every 12 years, like, I'm just throwing out ideas here, but would you give up one home game every 12 years, right? Because 12 teams, you play once every 6 years in Mexico, let's say, but you only lose a home game every other time, so once every 12 years. You wouldn't take that trade-off? I would. It makes sense. And that's where, after letting this thing kind of settle down for a little bit and thinking about it beyond the immediate reaction of college football belongs on campus, college basketball belongs on campus, and those are things I do believe. Brett Yormark, I mean, he's not saying this. He hasn't said anything publicly, but the reports are not to, take the headquarters from Dallas to Mexico City here. I mean, geez, we're not going to have the cartels running the Big 12 or anything like that. It's just to say, how does this Big 12 brand stand out? What makes it different? What is some outside-the-box thinking that maybe is not happening in other conferences? And this is it. Brett Yormark is treating the Big 12, as he has since he took the job, like a professional sports league, like the NBA, like the NFL. And it's worked out brilliantly for the Big 12, by the way. It has worked out perfectly for this league. You could not ask for a better 7-8 months. So I'm looking at this from afar and I'm saying, yes, my gut would say I don't love it, but then I'm also coming back to the idea of it makes a lot of sense. So I put this poll up on Twitter, on our Twitter page, at Heartland_CS. And the question I put up, Big 12 is going to play football and basketball games in Mexico starting in 2024. What do you think? Love it, hate it, unsure. Hundreds of votes thus far. Unsure is in the lead at 40%. Hate it is 32%. Love it is 28%. So that's the breakdown right now. Most of you are unsure. And I get it, because you can't even fathom the thought, right? You're like, wait, Big 12 basketball games in Mexico City, Big 12 football games starting in 2025. Like, what? You're still trying to comprehend it. And I was like that too when the news first came out. And now I'm taking a step back and I'm thinking, if it is a one-off every several years and it helps this brand grow and that helps TV revenue and eyeballs over time, that leads to more money through the TV contract, then it makes sense. So I'm going through some of your comments here on Facebook Live, and I'm looking at those. Elijah writes, playing in Mexico doesn't make sense to us fans, but Brett Yormark is a businessman. He's thinking about how to obtain more viewership, and Mexico is a market no one in college sports has ever thought of going into. Exactly. And I get it. It's not ideal for a fan who's losing a home game or a business who's losing a home game. But if you look at the bigger picture, and that's what great businessmen do, they're not just looking at the next quarter. I mean, they're smart to look at the next quarter, but they got to look at a 5-year plan. And to Brett Yormark's credit, he puts together a 5-year plan, and he's done that for this league every step of the way. And for that, I'm sitting here and I'm saying, in Yormark we trust. Hashtag in Yormark we trust. You can join me with that hashtag if you want. I used it on Twitter the other day, at Pete Mundo, and I'm going to stand by it until proven otherwise. So there you go. Now, we put together a list on the website of the top 5 candidates for Big 12 football games in Mexico. And here's the list we came up with at Heartland College Sports. All right? This is fun. We thought about this as a staff, and here's the conclusion that we came to. Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. That just fits. All right, you got 2 rowdy fan bases, 2 high-flying offenses usually. The Dust Bowl, as it's been dubbed, seems like it's always a pretty crazy game. And this has all the makings of you add in Mexico, you add in margaritas, you add in a little chips and guac, and you got yourself, who the heck knows what's going to happen in that Dust Bowl. Blue-collar, hard-nosed coaches, that is going to be potentially a great look in Mexico if we're ranking 5 games that make sense to have in Mexico starting in 2025. Not 5 games that year, just 5 potential options. Since, we're just here to help, right? That's what we're here for. We've got Houston and Texas. It feels like a game that will become a rivalry very quickly. These two programs have a lot of individuals, alumni that intertwine, opposite sides of Texas. We know that there is obviously in South Texas and West Texas a large Hispanic population, largely Mexican as well. So it makes sense with the Mexican culture being prevalent in and around both of these universities and the towns that they represent. It's a fit geographically, and it's one that really stood out to us. Baylor TCU stood out as well. It's a rivalry. It's a rivalry in the state that borders Mexico. It's a great game, it feels like, almost every year. I mean, this last year was a thriller, right? The TCU walk-off win, 29-28, that kept their hopes alive for a college football playoff. It's bizarre to maybe take this game out of Waco or Fort Worth, but if it had to be a neutral site, take this rivalry into Mexico, baby. Just saying, that's a possibility. The other game we've got listed here, Houston and UCF. They're the two southernmost schools in the conference. They're new to the Big 12, so you get to build a little new Big 12 rivalry. Both were in the AAC. Fan bases who are new to the Big 12 who will be excited to travel. They're familiar with each other, obviously. And, they've been pretty darn good football programs as well. So if you want to showcase two new teams, if you're Brett Yormark, Houston, UCF makes a lot of sense. And last but not least, and this one's going to maybe melt down the podcast, melt down YouTube, Farmageddon. Yes, that's right. K-State, Iowa State. Now you're going to scream and say Farmageddon is supposed to be in late November. It's supposed to be 10 degrees in Manhattan or Ames on a Saturday night on Fox Sports 1. That's what this game is supposed to be, darn it. Hear me out. Hear me out. These are two of the most passionate fan bases in college football. The rivalry is becoming one of the best in the Big 12. In 106 all-time meetings, Iowa State holds a two-game advantage, leads the series 52-50-4. The game is weird, it's wacky every time it's played, and maybe if you go down to Mexico, where it's going to be 80 degrees, you'll get some offense in the game instead of having a 10-9, 8-7 kind of a matchup. So, and if you want to get a couple of Big 12 North, I use quotes when I say that, but Northern Big 12 teams in the mix, get a real rivalry going. These two fan bases travel well. I hope there's enough Busch Light in Mexico City or whatever they would be playing. And, the rest is history. And let's be honest. You're going to tell folks in Manhattan or Ames, if it's November, they could make a trip down to Mexico, make a little vacation out of it, and watch their team play football in Farmageddon. It's not the number one option, but it's not crazy either, and it is a little bit outside the box, shall we say. But you know what? Brett Yormark's thinking outside the box, so we're going to join him in thinking outside the box. So those are our top 5 matchups that we would propose for the Big 12 if or when it ultimately does get football games down in Mexico starting in 2025. What a world. That is a sentence I never thought I'd say. Leonard writes on Facebook Live, Pete, West Virginia fans in Mexico. Moonshines and margaritas, baby. Oh, my goodness. Now we're talking there, Leonard. I think Leonard's got it all lined up for the Mountaineers going on down that way. I didn't include West Virginia in one of those 5 games, but making a point there, Leonard. Adrian writes, real tacos and great football on a Saturday night. I'm in. Okay. Adrian's in. I'm just trying to go through some of the comments here and read what you guys have got. I get it. Some of you aren't going to like it. Some of you aren't going to be fans. I understand it. But I genuinely think that when you look at this from Brett Yormark's perspective and building this brand, there's a lot here to like. I'm Pete Mundo, HeartlandCollegeSports.com. Before you leave us, subscribe on YouTube, share it on Facebook, and on the podcast, hey, I've got all these koozies. I just got a brand new box of Heartland College Sports koozies. I'm showing them on Facebook and on YouTube. I'll send you one for free. All I ask you to do is leave a rating and a review on the podcast, iTunes preferably, but if not, if you got Spotify, that's fine too. and then send me a screenshot of that rating and review to Pete Mundo, Mundo, at heartlandcollegesports.com. You guys have a great rest of your day. The Big 12, it's an exciting time to be a fan of this conference and a fan of any team in this conference, and know that we're in damn good hands because in your mark, we trust. Thanks for being here, guys. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.